We were married almost 30 years and moved to Abilene, and we moved here so that he could start a youth sports organization. And in the process, he had a health checkup that didn't go very well, and 49 years old was diagnosed with metastasized melanoma, which basically means cancer in the lymph system. I guess we kind of went through about 5.5 years of surgeries and radiation and chemo medicines and immunotherapy and more surgeries, and it was kind of constant, but it was kind of a slow constant. We'd get a diagnosis and we'd just tackle it. You know, we are Christians and we applied the word of God to John's situation. I mean, if God is God in the good, he's God in the not good either. It kind of all came to a head the last 10 weeks of his life. I got a call that he had collapsed at work, and unbeknownst to us, the cancer had spread to his brain. I felt like the Lord told me. He said, I've got John. This isn't about John. This is bigger than him. That told me it's exactly what I needed to hear at that point in time. That God had John. I don't know if he was going to live or die in the last 10 weeks of his life. It didn't matter because God had him at 55 years old. John's purpose on this earth was done.
Well, and Gary and I were together for 33 years and met on a blind date from his mother. Had a great life, 2 incredible kids. On the morning of February 20th of 2020, he had gone on a hunting trip, and so I got a call really early that morning and from a young man, and I knew why he was calling, and they could not find the plane that he was in. And through the course of the morning, found out that his plane had crashed 16 minutes after takeoff. I say that there was my faith before trauma, and then there is my faith after trauma. When you really have to walk out what you've professed almost your whole life, and then your children do that also, it will grab hold of you. The Lord truly, you can almost feel him holding you through that. When you have the joy of the Lord in you, then it's like a domino effect. Then you rest easy in his spirit, and you know that he has you through the valley, and he is holding you up through the valley. So what we knew as a family is that we needed to and it wasn't perfect, but we needed to have our minds on the Lord.
That's right.
Now, that didn't mean we needed to have the Bible open at every moment. That didn't mean that we needed to be singing and worshiping, but we needed to have our minds on the Lord. And when our minds were filled with the Lord, then the fear couldn't come in. That does not mean that it was pretty on some days. That means that it was humanistic. But in the middle of that humanity was the Lord, both on our minds and both physically through a saint.
We didn't know from day one to minute one whether we're going to do good or we're not. It's this big roller coaster of our journey that we had. And it's literally when the fear comes, you take control of it by the word of God, and you stand on it and you pray and you get your mind in the right place so that it can't take control of you. And then you kind of sail till the next crisis, and then the fear comes and you take control of it and you stand on it and you battle it. And so for us, it was a very roller coaster kind of ride. But the really great thing I feel like through that whole thing is my daughter saw us living out our faith. No matter how ugly or pretty or great it was, we fell short a lot of times, but we did the best we knew how to do. And the peace that came through the journey, that's really the difference as a Christian, is we had peace through the chaos. He's our comforter. He's our God who is incredible, and he's going to walk us through, whether it's the valley or the mountaintop. As long as our eyes are on him, he's going to be with us. And so walking through the valley of the shadow of death. We've been there with our husbands, and yet here we are. I'm here almost 4 years later. You're here almost 2 years later. God's incredible. He's incredible what he gives us.